Hello, hello, hello. So we have made it to day 4 of the Flylady Baby Steps, and today's habit or step in the Flylady system is to set up our control journal. So I'm going to show you my original Flylady control journal. But first, actually, I'm going to take you back in time pre this journal. My original would have been a Flylady journal, even though I didn't specifically know about Flylady and control journal at that time, was this old antique thing we used to call a household manual. And I'm not kidding you when I said this was like a 3-inch notebook binder, and it weighed about 15 pounds. I wish I still had that thing to show you. It is insane. And I'm not kidding you. I think it had like at least 2 or maybe 3 packs of that loose leaf notebook paper. The amount of information I had in there was just absolutely ridiculous. But I later found the Flylady system, and so I streamlined and kind of did away with the household manual for a control journal. So this was definitely much easier to keep up with than that big old dinosaur 15-pound notebook lugging around. So I'm going to show you. This was my original Flylady control journal, and a lot of this stuff has actually been taken out of here because when I set this up, you'll see that a lot of time has passed, and as that time has passed, a lot of the information that I had in there is really irrelevant now. None of it is even like valid information, so a lot of it got purged. And going back to my old household manual, I'm pretty sure I probably threw it away when we moved to Florida in October. Like, I've kept it that long. I've moved that thing with me for probably, I would say, at least 5 moves. But I had to purge a lot of stuff when we moved down here and downsized. And I think I threw it away. If I didn't, it's buried in one of these storage bins here. If I ever come across this thing, I'm going to dig it out and make a video about it. But pretty sure I should have thrown it away. Anyway, going to show you again, a lot of the stuff in here has been purged out. But my first section was obviously something that I did away with because I don't have a first section. My second section was my daily routines. And this is where I had my before bed routine. I had my morning routine written down. And then I had printed off some of the stuff from the Flylady website about shining your sink. And this was all the steps to doing the shining your sink. It was a new concept for me. And then I printed off some stuff about the routines. And the basic plan. And then you'll see right here, I printed off some of my emails because they had like the missions in there. And if you look at this date, this is Thursday, August the 11th, 2011. So that's when I first discovered Flylady and set up my control journal in 2011. And this is 2019. I'm surprised I actually even still have this thing. But I have been not consistent since 2011, but on again, off again. Pretty consistent with doing a lot of the Flylady routines. I've done them so long now, I don't even really call them Flylady routines. They're just my habits. This section was the weekly routines, and this is when I did like each day of the week, the things that I was supposed to do. I didn't have anything for Monday because Monday was the weekly home blessing. Tuesday was a free day. And here was the weekly home blessing hour, and that's just the chores that you do once a week. Vacuum and sweep, dust, mop, clean the glass, empty the trash, wash the bed sheets. And then this was just another little print out of the weekly home blessing. This was like the weekly breakdown. So I printed this off. And then this was the weekly checklist, like specific tasks to do in each room, like scrub the floor, wash the rugs, clean out the refrigerator. That was in the kitchen. Mopping, cleaning the mirrors. Just the individual tasks for each room. And then we went into the zones, and this was a print off of all the little tasks for each zone and each room in that zone, because some zones each week would have multiple rooms. Like this one would have a bathroom and an extra bedroom. So I had all of that printed off, and then I think more emails printed off. Look, August 12th, 2011. Again, this was the missions, and each day of the week you get like a little mission when you sign up for the emails. There's August the 14th, 2011. So I kept all of this stuff. Then this was like important contact information, and I've taken a lot of this out because a lot of the information that I had in there in 2011 doesn't apply to now. And it's just a place for names and numbers, kind of like a little address thing. And then a financial section. Nothing that I had in 2011 do I even remotely have now. So none of the financial stuff from 2011 applies to now. And there is a section for projects. And this is just kind of where I kept a list of like books to read, movies to watch, projects to do. Like this, I was working on handmade gifts, like gifts in a jar, and trying to start knitting, which that fell by the wayside because I'm a left-hander, and apparently no one in this world can teach me how to knit. And then I don't remember what section this was because there's no tab in there. And then this is a home and car maintenance. So I printed this out for the control journal, and it's basically just kind of like, I guess like an annual checkup for your home. Like pretend to be a realtor, and you just go through and like jot down everything that needed to be repaired, replaced, or painted. Any area that needed to be decluttered. I think a sheet for each room of the house. So there was a lot of pages of that. Building a toolbox. Like I have my own little toolbox. And then checking like all your plumbing, heating and air, just electricity, make sure that everything works correctly, you don't have anything shorts out, nothing that flickers, checking for drafts. It was pretty inclusive, like, and thorough as far as like really giving a good check of your home, lawn equipment, and then it moves into the car, just like doing like a little annual checkup for your car, and then a place for emergency contacts like your car mechanic, a carpenter, an electrician, a painter, a plumber. Again, right now I live in an apartment complex. None of this applies to me. It's not my responsibility to take care of these things, but when things do act up here, I just call and put in a maintenance request, and the maintenance man takes care of it. So I do still look for something, you know, obviously I still don't want leaks or drafty windows or electricity shorting out, but that's not really something as in depth that I would do if it was my own home. And then it's a little checklist for each month for like a winter and a spring, so a little seasonal checklist, summer checklist, and a little fall checklist. So like just little things to do each season. And then what was this for? Just another one of the little emails that I got, printed it off, and again, another email. So I used to print these off a lot. Again, that was 2011. So this was my very first Flylady control journal. Now, since the years following 2011, my therapist has told me that I need structure and organization and routine in my life, but chaos is bad. Okay, so that makes sense. So following these routines and these zone cleaning schedules, that all really works for me, and I think that's why I've stuck so long with the Flylady plan, because it is structured, it's routine. You know, it's like any given day of the week or week of the month, I know what I'm supposed to be doing. Like I know the tasks that are there. But again, I've been doing this for quite a few years. I think 8 years now. So it's pretty ingrained in my head now, and it's pretty much second nature. But in an attempt to streamline yet once again and not have to keep up with so many different things, I still keep this tucked away in the closet for a reference, but I have since changed up again. Enter my Classic Happy Planner. Now this is something that I have my hands and my eyes on every day. Like I'm physically engaged with this book every single day. So what I did, this was actually the Coastal Happy Planner that came out for 2019. I just have a new little cover on it. But see, all the little things are kind of coastally. Well, I say that. There we go, some beach. So at the back of this planner, I have added some sections with the little Happy Planner. I got this cute little coastal themed and tropical themed dividers off of a shop from Etsy, and then I added a little control journal to the back of my planner. Since I'm in this every day, I figured why not have my control journal as a resource right there in one book instead of having to keep up with 2 books every day to look at. Again, a lot of the routines, I've done them so long, I don't even have to look at them, but it's always great to have them there for a reference, because especially with like the zone cleaning chores, like each week when I'm setting up, say that I'm setting up and planning, I can reference what week it is, what zone I'm in, and then I can jot down throughout the week to schedule for those particular tasks so that I can make sure they get done. So my first section in my little control journal in my Happy Planner is routines. So I have like my little daily routines right here. I made this little sheet, and I have my household, morning and evening routine, and my self-care morning and evening routine. So like my swish and swipe, unload the dishwasher, do a load of laundry, make the bed. I just have those jotted down right there, because again, the routines are the things that I don't even have to think about. It's like they're second nature. But I wrote them down as well. So this is my self-care routine for the morning, for the evening, a laundry routine, like what particular laundry I wash on what day of the week, my paper routine, my personal development routine, which those are different than, you know, what I have right here, because these are more like different things that I work toward, like my journaling and reading and meditation, which is part of the miracle morning that I just completed. And then this is a before bed routine and an after dinner routine that I made up and put in here. And then this is just another morning routine, but this has got the chores and the self-care stuff together, and then I just kind of broke them down a little bit. The weekly house cleaning chores, and then that's the evening routine, which is the after dinner and before bed, again, chores and self-care, just kind of the whole thing. The next section is my flight plan, which is the weekly, like what day of the week, what I'm doing. Like on Monday is the weekly home. They call it the weekly home blessing. I call it the weekly home power hour. The free day on Tuesday, a planner day, and desk day on Wednesday, which is like when you set up to pay the bills, errand day, family fun day. And then on Monday, I wrote down all the chores that I have to do for my weekly home cleaning. And then each day of the week just kind of has a breakdown of the specific tasks that are to be due that day. And then this is just a little break it down too, because sometimes I will actually break the rooms down a little further. Instead of trying to do the whole weekly home blessing in one day, I'll just add a little extra of the chores, break them up throughout the week. This next section is for today, and that's where I have like these kind of to-do lists added in here, and just kind of keep a running to-do list of everything that I need to get done. And my next section is for the zones. And this just kind of says, 15 minutes each day, how to sort the decluttering task. And then I have them broke down by the week. Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, and Zone 4, and Zone 5. And then each week I know what tasks need to be done. And then again, like I said, I can just go back into my planner and fill the tasks and break them down through the week, so that each day I'm giving myself about 15 minutes worth of tasks to get completed. This was the original zones that I wrote down, but this had an entrance and a front porch in Zone 1. I don't have an entrance and a front porch now, again, back to an apartment. But one day we plan to move back to North Georgia. So I just kept my original one in here, so that when we do move back and eventually I get a front porch and possibly an entrance, I will go back to using this zone. And then again, for some reason, I just have the morning routine again down here, because this was on the back of Zone 5. I had set them up before we moved. This was in the house that we lived in that did have an entrance room, a separate entrance room, and a front porch. My next section is for meals, and that's just for keeping an inventory of my pantry and my refrigerator and freezer, and then just jotting down ideas for my menu planning. I have the Happy Planner recipe book that has little sections in it for recipe planning and grocery shopping lists. So that's where I do most of my menu planning in there. But I try to keep my inventory of my pantry refrigerator and freezer here just to refer to before we start menu planning so that we see what we have that we need to make meals out of. My last section is for information. And this is like a little emergency plan that we created last year before we moved to Florida because, you know, Florida hurricanes, this is kind of a emergency plan before they start calling for a hurricane, things that we need to have on hand, get together, make plans for, and just other things to, like some information on some websites and some blog post ideas, just different little things that we're compiling. And then back here, I have like my bucket list, my spring bucket list. And then I've got to, actually it's July, so I gotta do my summer bucket list because I haven't started it yet. And then just some little notes. So that is my new and improved Streamline control journal to follow the Flylady system. And I like it. I like having it right here handy with my planner. It just makes sense and it works perfectly. So if you haven't already checked out Flylady's website, be sure to check that out and then go into the section for control journal and figure out all the things that you need to do, no matter if you just get a notebook, a divider, you put it in your own planner, have a section for your planner. Start putting together the sections that you need to build your control journal. Thank you very much for watching this, and I will see you tomorrow for day 5 of the Flylady Baby Steps. Bye.